This is your math students. Welcome to classwork homework 7.11. Remember, your test is tomorrow. Today's mock tests are going to be problems exactly that are on the test. So you always want to identify the shape. In these problems, the easiest thing to do, identify the shape. Use your homework 7.6 or your reference sheet to go ahead and write down your formulas, right? For perimeter, that's the distance around. That's 2L plus 2W. For area, that's the space inside. That's just base times height. Parallelogram, same thing, 2L plus 2W, area, base times height. Now once you got your formulas, all you're going to do is plug in your numbers. So let's do that. So for the rectangle, it's 2 times 6 because that was our base, 2 times 2 because that was our width, or just 6 times 2 for the area. For the perimeter of the parallelogram, remember, you're only working with the numbers on the outside. So 2 times 9, your base, and 2 times 7, your width. And then for area, 9 times 6, dotted line is your height. Then you just do the math. So for the rectangle, 12 plus 4 becomes 16 meters, and your area, 6 times 2 becomes 12 meters squared. For your parallelogram, 2 times 9 plus 2 times 7 becomes 18 plus 14, and that's 32 meters. For your area, 9 times 6 becomes 54 meters squared. Okay. When you get to problems like 3 and 4, again, process is the same. Identify the shape, write down the formula. A triangle and trapezoid are a little bit different, right? The perimeter is just length plus length plus length. Just add up the 3 sides, not the number on the inside. Trapezoid, length plus length plus length plus length. Add up the 4 sides, but not the number in the middle. Okay? And remember, the area formulas are different. Triangle, base times height divided by 2. Trapezoid, base 1 plus base 2 times height divided by 2. So plug in your numbers. So for the triangle, we're adding 5, 8, and 10, just the numbers on the outside, and then we're multiplying our base, 10, times our height, dotted lines our height, 4, and making sure we divide by 2. For our trapezoid, we're adding 2, 6.5, 7, 6.5, and for our area, we're plugging in our bases, 7 plus 2, in parentheses, times 6, our dotted line height, again, divided by 2. Now you just do the math. So for your triangle, 23 inches. For your area, 20 inches squared. 10 times 4 is 40, divided by 2, 20. For your trapezoid, perimeter is 22 meters, and your area is 7 plus 2, which is 9, times 6 is 54, divided by 2, you get 27 meters squared. All right. Last 2, again, write down your shape, write down your formula, plug in your numbers. So the perimeter of a square is 4 times the side length. That's an S, not a 5. Or just, you could just say length plus length plus length plus length, but they're all going to be the same. And your area is the side length squared times itself. Or you could say base times height. It's the same thing. For a circle, your perimeter, there's no such thing. We say circumference. That's pi d. And your area is pi r squared. Your diameter here is obviously going a distance all the way across, so it's 16. Your radius is half of that, so 8. Right, you use 16 for your diameter for your circumference formula and 8 for your radius in your area formula. So plug in your numbers. For your perimeter, just 4 times 6. For your area, 6 squared, or 6 times 6, same thing. Circumference, 3.14 times 16. Area, 3.1 times 8 squared, right? Naming the shape, writing down the formula, that tells you what formula to use and what numbers to plug in. Do the math. We get 24 kilometers for our square, 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6, or just 4 times 6, 24. And 36, my fault, messed up, 36 kilometers squared for your area, 6 times 6. For your circumference, you get 50.24 yards. And remember, this is 8 squared, not 8 times 2, so 8 times itself, the X2 button on your calculator. So 200.96 yards squared. Okay? If you can get problems just like this, 1 through 6, you should be good to go on the first part of your test, right? Let's go to what the second part of your test will look like. When you're working backwards, you say, what's the shape? Is it area, perimeter, formula, and plug in? Same process. So here, we got shape, rectangle, we're working with perimeter, so my formula is P equals 2L plus 2W. So now we plug in what we know. If the perimeter is 30 inches, we know P. If the length is 12 inches, we know L, so we need to solve for W. We're literally just replacing the letter or variable with the number that we know now, right? This is going to turn into a 2-step equation. 30 is equal to 2 times 12, 24, plus 2W. We know how to solve these in our sleep. I see addition, so I subtract. 30 minus 24 is 6. These cancel out. I drop down my 2W. Bring down my equal sign. I see multiplication, so therefore I divide. 2 divided by 2 is 1, so that's why I'm left with W. W is equal to 6 divided by 2 is 3. D is your answer. And you could even plug in around the shape, right? You said this side length is 12, the width is 3, is 12 plus 3 plus 12 plus 3 add up to 30? You bet it does, right? Your perimeter is equal to 30. A regular pentagon is 40 inches. What regular means is that all sides are equal, and a pentagon has 5 sides. So the perimeter of a 5-sided regular pentagon is just going to be P is equal to 5S. So what do we know? We know P. Our perimeter was 40 inches. So 40 is equal to the 5 sides, which are all the same, times the side length. So to figure out the side length, it is a one-step equation. Just divide both sides by 5. So our side length is 8 inches. And if you plugged in 8 here, you'll notice that if all of these are 8 and you add them all up, you'll get a perimeter of 40 inches. I'm going to leave the working backward problems number 9, 10, and 11 to you. I'm going to help you with number 12. If you get stuck, you should take a look at homework 7.7. Working backwards for rectangles, triangles, and parallelograms should help you out. All right. Here, I already know that it's a trapezoid. It says I'm working with area. So hence, I'm going to write my area formula, which is base 1 plus base 2 times height divided by 2. So plug in what we know. I know my area is 20. 20 equals, plug in the rest. From my shape, I know that the bases are 2 and 6. I don't know my height, and I know I need to divide everything by 2. Let's get rid of the fraction first by multiplying both sides by 2. Doing so erases those 2 out. I'm with 40 equals 2 plus 6 times h. Now let's use distributive property to make this a two-step equation. H times, actually we don't even need to do that. What's 2 plus 6? That's 8. So we get 40 is equal to 8h. And now that's a one-step equation. Didn't even need to use distributive property. I see multiplication, 8 times h, so therefore I'll divide. Divide by 8, divide by 8, h is equal to 5. Worst comes to worst. You could take each one of these answer choices and plug them in for the height, plug those numbers into the formula, and just do it until you got 20 as your area. I bet you if you plug in 5 right here and do 2 plus 6, in parentheses, times 5 divided by 2, I bet you get 20. All right, that's it. The rest are yours for homework. Composite figures, shaded region. You should know from previous homeworks, including last night. Volume, remember our formula is V is equal to BH, where big B represents the area formula for the base shape. I will let you figure that out. And number 16 is one of those problems where you have to do something and then do something extra. Call me if you have questions. Good luck studying for your test tomorrow.